basically when you were on Ryan's podcast, the first time you manifested that you were going to go off on your own and you didn't know it yet. What are you going to manifest this time?
The pressure's on.
I think it'd be cool to open up a salon suite where it hits the girls that want to be part of a team, but they also want their own business. So that's part of my fear with social media is people portray you how they want to portray you, not how you want to portray yourself. And it's very hard to make other people believe that you are who you are. In the hair world, it's a high expense business unless all you do is hair cutting. And that sounds terrible.
Nice. What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Snaadt. It rhymes with odd, and you're listening to watching the Rhymes with Odd podcast. We are jumping into season 2 with our first interviewee, where we started all the way back in episode 1, 51 episodes ago. We're coming right back here to start season 2 the same way we started season 1 with my beautiful, wonderful wife, Paige Snaadt. Paige, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, it's Paige Snaadt. Also rhymes with odd.
There you go. So we're planning a pretty big season 2. Wanted to bring Paige back on the pod today because some significant changes have happened in your career since we've last spoke.
My hair color.
Your hair color. She has red hair now for people that are listening, instead of being blonde. And what we'll probably talk about most today, which is you started your own business.
I did.
So we'll talk about that. We have a fun lightning round of other things which you didn't want to be briefed on, so you'll be surprised when that comes. We've also got some bourbon here, and we're in the SMG studio, so Paige and I both like whiskey. We'll have to pour ourselves some from the decanter. Mm-hmm. The SMG. Oh.
Nothing says let's get into parenting after this like some whiskey.
Nice. Yeah, Paige and I went to the gun range this morning, or before we got here, and now we're drinking whiskey, so...
I'm such a dude.
We're duding out.
I need Sprite.
I don't have any Sprite. I have water if you want that. But no, really excited to jump in. But for people that didn't listen to episode 1, give a brief introduction to who you are, what you do professionally, and then we can kind of jump in here. So,
okay. Well, I am Paige Snaadt, married to Ryan Snaadt.
It rhymes with odd.
It rhymes with odd. Cough break.
Continue.
I am a hairstylist in Ankeny, Iowa, and I've been doing hair for about 11 years now, which is pretty cool. I'm also a mom of our 2 beautiful children, Mr. Roni Baloney, Roan, and Lila. And I like doing home improvement projects, and I think we talked about a little bit on episode 1 that I did the whole renovation of Ryan's office, and that's pretty fun to do. So
yeah, I think that brings us right back to where we were, so that's great. So we'll probably just jump right in here. Last time we talked or on the podcast, you were an employee. Things have changed since then. You're also pregnant with our daughter now. She's 9 months old, and you have your own business. So tell me a little bit about this career journey. What prompted you to start your own salon?
Well, I always wanted to do my own thing and start my own salon eventually, whether that was by myself or have employees of my own or whatever. I knew eventually I wasn't going to be an employee anymore. Can't hold me down. Unless you're Ryan and you marry me.
Can't hold me down.
Can't hold me down. But yeah, after the last time we talked on the podcast, obviously we talk every day, but it just kind of started hitting me that employee life wasn't for me anymore, and things were happening at the salon I was at that I just didn't agree with and didn't feel welcomed anymore, which really stinks because when you work somewhere, you want to feel like you're part of the team and everybody's happy to see you when you come in for work, and I didn't feel that anymore. So that's when we kind of sat down and were like, okay, do you want to go to another salon? No. Okay, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go off on your own? Yes, but that's terrifying. And so we picked the yes, but that's terrifying path.
Well, because at that point, I mean, you were looking at what other options were on the table besides, you mentioned like working for another salon, but were there other things you looked at doing?
I mean, it was pretty much either work for somebody else that I didn't want to do, or work by myself, for myself, or buy a salon and own a salon and have employees. But I wasn't at that level quite yet. So, not really.
Sure. So you decide, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. For the people that aren't familiar with the hair industry, like there's a lot of different ways people do that or organize their salon, whether it's booth rental or hourly or whatever. Explain that, and then why you chose the route or which route you chose and why.
I chose, so in the hair world, there's an employee, like an hourly employee, a commission employee, a booth rental where it looks like it's a full salon, but you booth rent, and you rent your chair basically. Or there's salon suite where you rent a room. So similar to the size of this podcast room. You rent a whole room, and that is your salon. And then depending on the size, you could have an employee underneath you. And then obviously owning a salon and then owning a salon suite. So there's lots of different options, but I chose the salon suite route because that felt like the best option for me, because even with being booth rental, you're still working closely with, 5 to 10 other girls. And that's kind of what I wanted to avoid, was working directly with other people. Not because I'm antisocial, but it's a bunch of women. Women suck. We know this. And it's true, though.
Tell me about it.
Sorry, I have a sinus infection.
That's why you sound like you're about to cry every time you speak.
It really does.
If anyone's listening, you think she's on the verge of tears. She's not. She just can't breathe very well. So
Don't have allergies, kids. Turns into a sinus infection. I don't even know where I was going after that, besides I'm dying.
Welcome to my life. Trail off into nothingness. No, I think you were kind of explaining the way people design their salon businesses, because there's people like you have friends from school and from previous coworkers that maybe rent a chair, or they're a W-2 employee, or they own their own salon, or they started their own salon suite. What are some of the cons of the salon suite option, since that's the route you decided to go?
Well, if you like working directly with coworkers, then that would suck because you're by yourself. I mean, I know some of the other girls now through talking with them, like in the break room. But, I mean, you can talk with other people as much as you want, or you can be completely secluded and be very by yourself. So there's perks to that, and then there's downsides.
Well, the big thing too is, I mean, you knew some people right out of school that just went straight to a salon suite, and that's very difficult because if you don't have clients yet, which most people out of school don't, you're just trying to get people that you know in where you've been in your career a decade, you have a client base here that you could just say, hey, I'm at this new place now. Because what were some of those challenges of getting people, like bringing your customer base over and not losing everybody when you left the salon?
Yeah, so I had to be very, very sneaky and strategic, because in the hair world, if you say you're done, you're fired right on the spot, because the employer doesn't want to lose your clients, even though they're loyal to you. They love how you style their hair. To the employer, they are their clients because they're bringing money into the salon. So I had to be very, very sneaky and write down all my clients' names and phone numbers and what services they got, what products they bought, and just have all that down so then I could run my numbers of, okay, if 75% of my people follow me, will I be okay with my with my predicted future expenses and all that. Mm-hmm. So it was very nerve-wracking, very tricky because, like I said, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell your coworkers, yeah, I'm going to leave at the end of the month, because then people start talking. Even if it's your best friend in the salon, word still gets out somehow because they tell somebody they trust. And then that person's like, oh, well, I don't like Paige, so I'm going to tell the owners. Or you change your Facebook page name a day before you're going to quit, and Facebook actually approves it within 5 minutes. Just saying, don't do that. Wait until you actually quit. Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking, and just trusting that your clients, your guests are going to believe in you and want to support you and follow you is very nerve-wracking.
Well, and as you went through that process, I feel that there's a lot more that goes into that process than most people probably understand. Like, can you just rattle off some of the things you had to do in preparation to leave? Because a lot of places you just put your notice in and leave. Mm-hmm. It's like an office job. Like, oh, I'm quitting. Here's my 2-week notice. Like, what were the things you had to do to get to the point that you could leave without income?
Well, like I said, I had to write down all their names and phone numbers and have a strategy of how I was going to contact them, because I couldn't contact them before I quit. But once you quit, you have to contact all of them, because the employer that you're working for is going to contact them and say, hey, Paige isn't here anymore. Do you want to stay here? We'll get you rescheduled. So I had to have my software set up for my new business, and I had to obviously have all the LLC stuff figured out, so I was a legit business. So the moment that I needed to start working, I could legally. I had to keep my schedule the same, so then people that already had appointments, I could just copy and paste them, same day, same time, everything, because nothing is more nerve-wracking for a client than hearing that you're sick. That is like detrimental to some clients. They're like, oh God, I have to reschedule, because people are busy. People have their own schedules that they have to figure out. And so if you go and change your entire schedule, leaving where you're at to start something new, that's just going to confuse them even more. You have to treat it like a small kid of, okay, so-and-so, I'm no longer here. I started my own business. And they're like, whoa, okay.
Change.
Ugh. And then you're saying, okay, now I'm still in the same town, but I'm on the other side of town. Here's the new address. And they go, oh, new place to drive to.
More change.
And then, like for me, I'm on a second floor versus before I was on a ground level business. So then I'm like, and surprise, it's on a second floor. You have to find the stairs or the elevator. More change. So then if you change your change, people get scared and they're not going to want to follow you because it's too much change, no matter how much they love you. So I try to keep things as similar as possible, knowing that it was a huge change, and then just trusting that they would show up. So those first, probably that first month was so nerve-wracking because I didn't know if people were truly going to show up to their appointment or not. And a lot of people thought I was spam. They didn't believe I was actually me, because I texted every single person because I was not going to call 200 people because I hate talking on the phone. And that's a lot of phone calls for anybody, even if you do like talking on the phone. So I texted 200 people, had it all scripted out of what I wanted to say of, hey, it's Paige, your stylist. I'm moving, started my own salon, fulfilling a dream that I've always had, made it as positive as possible. It wasn't like, hey, I'm quitting. I hated this place.
Right.
Because, hey, I was quitting. I didn't hate that place, but I wanted it to be positive and for them to feel like they're supporting me and my small business. So had it all scripted out. I was just looking actually at those texts today because I was looking for another text on my phone. And there were still a ton of people that didn't reply to it, but at least they got it. And then a couple people I would text like, hey, it's Paige, like you had an appointment today at this time. And a couple people called me and they're like, oh my God, I didn't believe you. I thought this was spam. I'm like, why would it be spam? I'm me.
Oddly specific spam going on. We're going to figure out the name of your hairstylist and pretend that it's, yeah, that's an odd thing.
So that only happened a couple times. And one person aggressively called me like 10 times in a row the day that I quit. And I'm crying because I hate change too. And I was terrified of new things. And she called me like 10 times. And I texted her and I was like, hey, I can't talk right now. You know, what do you need? And she's like, I just want to make sure that this is actually you. And I was like, well, yeah, it's me, but I'll call you tomorrow. And she was like, okay, cool. And I called her. She was an older lady. And she's like, I just wanted to make sure it was really you. And this lady is from the same county that we grew up in. So I'm like, you saw it was a 319 number.
Mm-hmm. The spammers come from all places and can
they really do know.
Ping a tower.
I'm not spam, though. If you get a text from Paige that says, hey, it's Paige from Lux Salon Studio, it's actually me.
Sure. So as you put this salon together, you decide you're doing a salon studio route. Why the name Lux, Lux? What's the story behind that?
Well, years ago, my mom and I watched this TV show, and one of the characters' names on there was Lux. And we thought that was the coolest name. We're like, Lux, that's like a strong, cool, different name without being weird. It's not like freaking, I don't know, Pepper or something. And so I had presented this name to Ryan, and he's like, no, that's freaking weird. You didn't like
for
it
one of
for
our
a baby name.
For one of our children's names. I didn't like it.
So he didn't like the sound of Lux Snaadt. And I was like, that just sounds like a badass name. Like, she's going to kick some ass. But he didn't like it. And so when we were trying to come up with business name, I was trying to think of all the different things that I liked. And at first I was just like, oh, we'll just call it PS Salon for Paige Snaadt Salon. And then Ryan was like, well, that's boring. I'm like, dude, I am making all these decisions. And I picked a name. And you're telling me it's boring? And he's like, yeah, everybody names their salon their name. And I was like, well, yeah, but it's simple. And it's like, P.S. This is a salon. And he's like, no, that's stupid. And so then we were trying to come up with something like I love the beach, but it's like I'm in the middle of Iowa, in Ankeny, Iowa. There's no beaches. So that didn't make any sense. And trying to come up with something, and it was actually my mom that was like, what about Lux? Do something with Lux. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, like that didn't even cross my mind. And then Lux is also short for luxurious, and I like to try to create a luxurious, fun environment for my guests. And so then, yeah, it just kind of evolved to Lux Salon Studio, and thinking, me having my preemptive thinking, I was like, if one day I open my own salon, then I can drop studio off the end and be Lux Salon. So, because when you create a new business, you have to come up with a new name for the business, even though you're the same person. So I was like, in my little salon suite, I can be Lux Salon Studio, and then in the future, if I want to own my own salon or salon suite, it can be Lux Salon. So that was me and my preemptive thinking.
Yeah, I like it. Well, and it's not just Paige Hair Company, because then someday it might not be you behind the chair. You know, it could be anybody else. Like, gives you opportunity to grow, if that makes sense. So, kind of like when I did Snaadt Media Group, it was just me when I started. There's a group
You have a group of contractors.
Well, yes, now it's a group, but it was like future thinking where it's like Ryan Snaadt Productions or something. It's like, okay, Ryan has to be involved in every aspect of this or I'm not getting what I'm paying for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that you just did the plural option. So,
Yeah.
So we just passed your 1 year anniversary. You went
next week will be 1 year.
Oh, what next week? Okay, that's
Halloween.
right. That's right. She quit her job on my birthday. I forgot about that. What a birthday present!
Happy birthday, Ryan! I'm quitting my job.
Crying wife. That was fun. But
we discussed it. He agreed with it. It was.
I was okay with it. Yes. No, I think so. Now we're a year later.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the biggest things you've learned in this last 12 months of
taxes suck?
Right?
Yeah. Like
That's all that matters now.
Yeah, if you own your own business, just know taxes will take a majority of your money, and it's really depressing, actually. But no, Ryan told me, I save this percentage, and our accountant said, well, I suggest that you save this percentage. But both of them were just like, it's like kind of in the ballpark. There's not like an exact number of you save X amount of money towards taxes. So I just picked a number in between. Mm-hmm. There's not a ton of logic behind that. There's a little logic. But, I mean, that's the number one thing that sucks because you see your top line number that you're taking home and you're like, oh, my God, like, that's amazing. And, like, with my business, I have high expenses. I do a lot of color. So I'm spending hundreds of dollars every week just on hair color and restocking retail and stuff like that. So then it's like you see that top number, and then I take taxes away right away because I don't want to get screwed on that come springtime. And then after that, the expenses come out, and then you see that little number at the end. That's what you get. So, I mean...
Which is your...
net.
Which means...
gross. Profit. Right?
2 of those 3 are right. She really struggles with the accounting terms, so
I just know top line is the top number and net is the bottom because that's what you catch in the net.
Right. It's your net profit.
Net profit. Whatever.
And your top line
revenue.
Yeah, see?
I'm learning.
I always forget that most people don't know all the business terms because I went to school for this stuff, but then I'll talk to people
I know the terms, but I can't use them properly.
Yeah. As long as you understand how, I mean, you know how it works too, so that's helpful. So outside of, I mean, what was your biggest worry or fear around taxes before you even started? Because sometimes people say like, oh, it just sounds too complicated. Like I would never, like I just don't even want to try doing my own thing because like all this is just foreign to me. You know, what was that like for you?
I feel like I'm pretty chill about it because, I mean, obviously, you've ran your own business for however long now. And so I've kind of see what you're doing, and I trust and believe in our accountant. So that's like a huge thing. If you're going to have your own business, like have an accountant that you trust will tell you the right things and he knows his stuff. And I mean, shout out to Grant. He does both of our businesses and our collective taxes. So I think just having trust in the right people keeps me pretty chill. Because I recently gained a suite mate because I'm in a double suite. And she's just freaking out because she just started in like July.
Yeah.
So she's still in the freak out first half of the year versus I feel like the second half you're like, okay, like I know what things are now. And I kind of gave her a ballpark of numbers and she's like, man, you're pretty accurate on that. I'm like, yeah, I do I track my numbers because I'm OCD and I want to know exactly what I'm spending every month and exactly what I'm saving in taxes and exactly what I'm making. And she seems to like struggle with that connection with her accountant versus I'm just like, okay, like Grant will figure it out. And when it comes to springtime, like between the two of us, we'll figure it out and we're both saving money. And so that I won't freak out until tax season comes.
Well, and when you first got into this salon suite, there's, 40 people in your building and then another 30 or 40 in the other building that this person owns. Mm-hmm. and you ran into some people that didn't fully understand the business stuff and were struggling, or they're just like not saving for taxes and then getting which I've been here, you get a call from your CPA of like, hey,
you owe tens of thousands
yeah,
of dollars.
you like owe $15,000 in taxes and you need to pay it in like 30 days or less, or the IRS is going to start
and that'd be impossible as a hairstylist if you didn't, like, at least here in Iowa and working not even full-time, because I don't work full-time, that'd be impossible to gain all that in 30 days. So I couldn't even imagine what that girl specifically, like, she was a ball of stress, and they are no longer owning a salon suite because they just didn't get the business side of things. So it's like, if you want to go off on your own in hair, you need to know the business side of things. You don't have to be an expert in it, but you need to know the business side, because so much of doing hair is business. It's social media. It's marketing yourself. It's knowing where your numbers are for a business. And most hairstylists are very creative people. So that's boring. Same with like videography. Like, a lot of videographers are great at the video and the editing part, but the business side they suck on. And that's where, like, you know, shout out to you, husband.
Shout out.
Is you know the business side of things, and that's what makes you so good at what you do. And that's what I'm trying to do with being a hairstylist, is try to understand the business side of things, and with the help of you, learning the marketing side of things. And I hate being on social media constantly.
I'm surprised I got you on this podcast. Congrats for coming in.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're cute.
Just drag you in here. Leave King's Hawaiian roll breadcrumb trail to come in here.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. You did have whiskey.
I did. Yep.
And we did go shooting right before this, so you softened me up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anybody wants to be a hairstylist on your own, you got to know the business side of things.
Sure. Well, and I think a lot of times people see the upside or the potential of top line revenue, and they'll think, oh, that's what I'm like putting in my pocket.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit about how the things that go into owning a business that people like, your top line's not what you're putting in your pocket at the end of the month, that type of thing.
I mean, it's kind of depressing. You see that top line, and it's just like you get like money eyes, like the money eye emoji, because you're like, holy crap. Like, I'll just throw a number out there. I made $10,000 this month. Like, that's so cool. But that's not what you actually make, and that's any business, whether it's a high expense or low expense business. And in the hair world, it's a high expense business unless all you do is hair cutting. Mm-hmm. And that sounds terrible.
Right.
Don't do that.
Well, in some industries, it's really good, like 10% profit of like, if you make $1 million, like if you have $100,000 at the end of the year, that's really successful.
Mm-hmm. That's the weird thing about business, is like you wouldn't think that percentage would be deemed as successful. Mm-hmm. A 10% profit versus like where I'm at, it's like 40% profit. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's like crushing, because I think higher number better, because higher numbers typically are better. But because I have such a high expense range with doing so many colors, and like I sell extensions and I sell retail, so it's like those things are high expense, but you eventually make money on that. And so, you know, doing 40% is pretty good for what I do. Now, there's other hairstylists that would make more, others that would make less. It just depends on their business and what they're specializing in. Mm-hmm.
Well, especially with a service-based business, like what you and I do, if you do something really cheap per transaction, you just have to do a lot of it, like high volume, low cost, like Planet Fitness. They've got 1,000 or 10,000 members that pay $10 a month. They're making their money, where if you're a boutique fitness gym or a Pilates studio or something, you have to charge $150, $200 a month, and you only have 100 members or whatever. It's like in that. You
got to find your balance.
Right. Because I know there are women and just stylists in general in your building that work much less, but they do super high ticket where it's like they're doing a service for $1,000 or more per person. So if their goal is like $5,000 a week in income, they just need to do 5 appointments, like a person a day during the week, and they've made their money. Where some people might be working 12 hours a day,
doing haircuts the whole day.
Being a barber, just doing haircuts only or men's cuts or whatever. Where in that range where are you at now in that range of services, and where would you like to be? I don't want to speak for you, but where would you fall in there?
I mean, I'm definitely not at the top. That'd be sweet, though. 5 people in a week.
Wear like a black turtleneck and smoke a long cigarette and like, I do hair for the Kardashians.
Oh, that would suck. I do not want to do celebrity hair. That sounds horrible. All the pictures that are taken and all the critics. Like, even me as a hairstylist seeing celebrities or seeing people in movies, I'm like, ooh. Oh, what were they thinking with that? Why did they put that? Oh, her hair must have not been acting well. I know how she feels because those bangs look horrendous, but I bet it's because she has a cowlick and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, no, celebrity hair would not be good. I feel like I'm on the upper half because I do a lot of colors, but I like doing a little bit of everything. Like, I like doing men's cuts. I don't want to do more than 1 or 2 in a day, but I don't mind doing them because they're quick and easy. I can get them in and out. I can, when I'm not pumping and breastfeeding, I can double book, do a men's cut while a color's processing. So it's like working smarter, not harder with having those smaller services. But I also don't want to just have one person in my chair for 6 hours. I've done that before and it worked out and it was fine, and her ticket price was amazing, so it was worth it at the end. But that would kill me, my body physically, to just be slave laboring over one person doing these huge transformations that you don't know if it's going to truly turn out or not. So I'm still exploring doing different services and just seeing if I like them. And I think that's just part of the hair world, is you're always evolving. You're always learning new things and seeing, oh, okay, I kind of like doing extensions. I need to do more of those because that's a high ticket thing. And that's a very hard niche to get into. But once you build that clientele, they tell all of their friends that want extensions, and then it keeps going. So it's like, I'm in that top half of higher price services, but I like having those lower price services too, to just keep the balance and be able to have a family that comes to me, that it's like I start with the wife's hair, cutting it and coloring it, and then she's like, oh, do you do men's cuts? Yeah, sure. Easy peasy. That's what I started at for a chain salon for 3 years, was men's cuts. Cool. Do you do kids' cuts? Yeah, they're not my favorite, but I do them. Okay. Well, those kids grow up, and if it's a girl, get to middle school age, they start wanting to color their hair. So it's just working smarter in that way, too.
Crib to casket service offerings.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do somebody's dad's hair.
Oh, God.
That creeps me out a little bit.
Sure. So as you're starting to kind of like go through this decision to launch, so going not current day, but we're kind of going back now. So
Going back in time.
back in the olden days.
Back when I was 29.
Now you're 30 and crotchety and old. Yeah.
I'm creaky.
Okay.
Bones.
Get her some tin can or an oil can. So going back to that time, what were some of your limiting self-beliefs about doing your own business? Like if
that
someone
I wasn't good enough.
Expand on that a little bit for people that are also in this world where they're like, I have an idea for a business, but like, I don't know if I can do it. Like what was that like going on between your ears there?
A lot of lack of confidence, which tracks with my brain. But just, I was terrified that nobody was going to follow me, or like my core 10 people were going to follow me and that's it. And I was like, cool, that's like $2,000 worth in a month. I can't do that. Like, so that was my number one fear, was just nobody was going to follow me. That people thought I was spam. Not. I guess a fear that I still kind of have is just that, like, I won't keep up on my education because now I have to pay for it myself. That was a perk that I had at my last salon, is that they paid for the education and brought it to the salon. So I just have to be vigilant on saving up my money and taking, like, good legitimate classes, because there's cheap classes that our supply houses have for, like, $20.
Like $20.
Like $20. But they're things that I've already learned. So it's like learning new things and finding these good Redken artists that I can truly learn something from, and not just on Instagram, like actually sit down and go to a real class. So that's just keeping myself accountable, I guess, is one of those fears. Because I know I keep myself accountable with the numbers because I'm a number nerd. But just, like, keeping up on the education and all these trending freaking dumbass named haircuts that are already done haircuts. They just, I want the butterfly cut. No, you just want a frick ton of layers. Like, just say you want a lot of layers and stuff like that. So that's happened a couple times, that somebody sits down in my chair and they're like, I want this cut. And I'm like, what is that? And then they show me and I'm like, so you want layers? Like, stuff like that. But yeah, number one was definitely just fear of the unknown, fear of not keeping my clientele, and how am I going to gain new people? Because you always want new people. Like, I never want to have that post out that says not taking new clients. I always want to be able to still take new clients and have 100% booked all the time. Like, that's what I'm addicted to have. And then there's days like today where I took off the whole day because I didn't have anything, but I wanted to be able to do this podcast and other things. So there's a nice advantage of owning your own business, is if I was still an employee, I'd be sitting at work twiddling my thumbs, ripping foils, breaking sticks.
Breaking sticks.
Yeah, wax sticks.
Oh, wax sticks. Okay. Either it's in the trees just over your knee.
Maybe. If it was nice enough out, I'd be sitting outside tanning my shins.
Just your shins.
Just my shins.
That's nice.
So fear of unknown.
Sure. Well, now being on the other side, are you happy about your decision to go?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I guess.
No regrets.
No regrets at all? That's good.
Part of me wishes I would have done it sooner, but I'm also very much, things happen for a reason. So there was a reason that I decided to go off on my own business 2 months before having a baby. I don't suggest that.
Yeah.
Work for 2 months. It was the holiday season, so at least I had the big holiday rush.
Well, and every time
I went on maternity leave for 2.5
every time you get pregnant, one of us quits our job. So
yeah, I don't suggest that, but it's possible. It's not impossible.
I love it. Okay, we're gonna get into the lightning round trivia here. I should say, rumor has it, you're a pretty big Taylor Swift fan.
Hell yeah.
Tell the people about your obsession with this artist.
Well, it was a slow burn of becoming a fan, because I didn't like her when she was country. It wasn't until I was an adult that I started becoming a fan. And then we'll go back 4 years ago, before the pandemic. I was like, my goal for 2020 is to see Taylor Swift in concert. And then a pandemic hit. And then I was like, I guess I'm not getting my goal of getting married and seeing Taylor Swift in concert.
At the same time?
Yep.
I'm not getting married at no Taylor Swift concert.
Not at the concert, but those were my 2 goals for 2020, was to get married and to see Taylor Swift in concert.
That would be more expensive than just getting a really nice venue. Like having all your friends and family buy a ticket to her show.
And get married in the audience. That'd be hilarious.
It's
People
like
have gotten engaged at their concerts.
$3,000 a seat. I'm like, we could go get married on the surface of the moon for cheaper.
But yeah, so then there's pandemic, so then I couldn't get my goal, and then she wasn't touring because pandemic was still pandemicking. And then she announced her Eras tour, and I was like, holy shit, like I need to get on the pre-order. Well, then the Ticketmaster debacle happened where everybody got through on the pre-order. So then there was no tickets available once it was open to the public. And I didn't get selected for pre-order, so I was pissed. And so then I was like constantly looking for tickets, but nothing was available. And they're super expensive. And then 2 weeks before the Minneapolis leg of her tour last summer, I got a text from Ticketmaster.
Which you thought was spam.
Which I thought was spam. It sure was not spam.
It's spam. Hey,
But
Ticketmaster, give me a call.
I was at work when I got this text, and then I had a toner sitting on a blonde, toning her blonde hair, which I usually let sit on for like 10 minutes, and it was like halfway through the processing time I get this text, and I was like, it's my phone. If I won't get a virus on my phone. It'll be fine. So I open it, and it was the Ticketmaster site, and I was like, oh shit! And so I selected two tickets, and then it was like, these tickets have already been selected. Select again. So I was like, oh shit! And so I selected 2 more, and I got them, and it was only $5.50 for 2 tickets, which is so cheap.
For context, those same tickets were being resold.
$2,500.
Being resold for 10 times the amount.
No, that's what the regular ticket price was, $2,500. But since I was on the pre-order sale list, I got them for pre-order sale price. Plus, they were discounted, I think, again because it was 2 weeks before the tour.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
so then I got them, and Ryan and I discussed big purchases, like over $100. We discussed that. There was no time for discussing. There was no time to purchase these since I had a color sitting on somebody's head.
So you impulse bought some tickets.
I bought them, and I had a new guest in my chair, and I just total fangirled at her. I was like, oh my God, I just got Taylor Swift tickets, and I was freaking out. And she was like, oh, cool. Like, she clearly wasn't a fan and didn't understand the craziness of the Eras tour. But I got to go last year in June when I was 2 months pregnant with Lila. So I kind of felt like crap. But it was amazing. Best concert ever. And I've wanted to go again since. But I haven't been able to.
But then they made a movie about the tour that you went and saw.
In theater.
And then
watched it at home.
And then it was on Amazon Prime.
Uh-huh.
So you watched it there too.
Uh-huh. She has a picture booklet coming out too.
Oh, gosh.
And I've bought some merch.
Yeah, the shirts, the sweatshirt, the poster in your room, like you're some 12-year-old person.
I got that at the movie theater.
Uh-huh. Well, I wasn't looking for the entire story, but I think that illustrates perfectly that you're pretty much an expert in all things Taylor Swift.
I just want to be her friend. She seems like a cool friend. She likes baking. I like baking.
Right.
She does have cats. I'm allergic to cats, but I would take my Benadryl for her.
God. Okay. So the trivia. Just a couple things here. In 30 seconds, I want you to name as many Taylor Swift albums as you can.
Okay.
Because thinking of like the eras of the show, it's based on her albums, right?
I'm not good at speed round things.
You got 30 seconds.
This earlier.
I'm going to tally this. So just, you're going to get more than I would because I don't know anything. So whenever you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go with the albums.
Taylor Swift, Lover, Reputation, 1989, Evermore, Folklore, Midnights, Red, I can't think of any more. I think Enchanted, but that's a song, not the album.
Bam, bam. Okay, good. You got 8.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Next question. I'm going to play a song.
Okay.
For like 5 seconds.
Okay.
I need you to name the song.
Do I know the album or no?
No.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Will I be able to hear it?
I'm going to play it into the speaker here. Hold on. 3, 2, 1.
I'm like the water when you sip.
What's the song name, Paige?
I'm thinking. Yes, I know. Everything you follow. It's my plan. That's my man. I know the song.
Then what is it?
I know the album.
No, you don't. What's the album?
It's at the Folklore album.
Yeah, what's the song name?
I don't remember.
Okay, then you don't get that.
What was
beep,
it?
Beep. It's Willow.
Willow. I was going to say Hollow, but I knew that was wrong.
Okay, next one. Here we go.
Paper Rings.
Yep. Hold on. I didn't think you'd get
That's
it
what
that
we
fast.
walked down from after we got married.
I didn't think you'd have it that quick. Okay, here's another one.
Fever Dream High. Know that I got it.
Yeah. What's the name of the song?
I can't remember.
What's the chorus?
What's the album?
The rainbow looking one in the clouds.
Oh, the Lover album?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's Cruel Summer.
Cruel Summer.
That one's all over the radio. I know that
know.
one. Okay, here's a shoe
See, I
in.
know the words. That's like
I'll skip ahead, sorry. Oh, I can't.
Drew.
No.
That's like OG Taylor. I
Yes.
didn't listen to her then.
Teardrops on my guitar.
Yeah.
That's the. Come on. I'm picking the ones that I know.
sorry.
Last one. I'll give you a shoe in.
I'm
You need
sorry, Taylor, that I'm not getting your
need a
songs
victory
as
lap
quickly.
here. Nothing?
I know the song. I'm not good with the names. Style.
It's called Style.
Yeah. Out of Style. It's about Harry Styles.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I suck at that. I
didn't
know
keep
the
it,
songs.
I didn't keep a tally, but I'd say you're like 50.
50%, yeah.
I was I think I showed you the chick on TikTok that you could play the first 2 seconds of any song and she knew exactly which one. I was expecting you to be to that level, so I'm really let down.
I'm sorry. I know the songs because I was like singing the song, but I couldn't get to the title.
Sure. Okay, non-Taylor Swift. Name as many hair salons in Ankeny that you can. This is in where your business is located. As many other competitors in your area that you can. My goal is 10. If you can get 10, that's my number here.
Okay.
And go.
AR Studios, Salon Therapy, The Little Studio, Rev, Trim, Envision, Pure, Amara, Anani, oh my gosh, what is that one? CR Beauty,
Where do some of your friends work?
Sandalwood,
Where does Haley work?
Blend and Bright,
Which one is...
Vesta,
There you go. She might do it, people. She might get 5 extra.
how many sound effects can I make?
3,
Oh no.
2,
A lot of them just have their names on it.
1. Okay, that was
I had
good.
13.
13. That was
Yeah.
good. I was thinking of like other ones like Sports Clips, Great Clips.
Oh, they're not competitors. They're
Yes, they
cheap.
are. They do what you do.
No, some of them just do haircuts and they don't do them as well. So
Well, sorry. Okay.
they're not.
Well, now your lightning round's over. The pressure is off. Congratulations.
I was ready for some harder questions.
Well, apparently you couldn't figure out the Taylor Swift songs.
I knew the songs. I'm not good with titles.
Okay.
I even do that to myself in the car. I won't look at the title, and I'll be like, okay, and I'll start singing it, and I'm like, nope, don't know the name. And I look at it, and I'm like, I knew the name.
Right. Well, it's like in episode 11 last season, we had Dylan, my friend Dylan, who's very good with movie years they came out.
Yeah, don't know how.
Such a weird party trick of like knowing what year a movie was published. It's very weird. Like, it was in production this year, but they actually didn't launch it in theaters until spring. I was like, what? So anyway, okay, so switching gears back to, you mentioned like having to do all this extra stuff for your salon business now.
Yes.
Talk to me about the social media challenge of getting and staying relevant on social media.
It sucks.
What, the whiskey or the social media?
No, the social media. I mean, that's how... No, that's fine. I like my whiskey.
Oh,
Don't do
okay.
that.
Sorry.
It's hard in the sense that I don't like being, ironically, I don't like being on camera. I don't like making stupid little videos and acting. And that's what a lot of social media is finding a sound and mimicking the words of the sound and making it seem like it's your words. And I feel like that's very fake, and I don't want to present myself as fake because I'm a very sarcastic person. I'm a very blunt person, but I'm a very caring and helpful person at the same time. So it's like if I put something on social media, I want it to portray who I am. And sometimes sarcastic turns out bitchy. And that has been an issue with other people with me in the past, as they take my sarcasm as just being mean and bitchy. So I don't want to put a video up and me think it's funny and me understand that it's being sarcastic, and then people interpreting that as like, wow, she's a really bitchy person, I don't want to go to her. So that's part of my fear with social media, is people portray you how they want to portray you, not how you want to portray yourself. And it's very hard to make other people believe that you are who you are. And so that's why I prefer word of mouth when people are talking about me, of, oh yeah, you should go to Paige. She's really funny. She's, sarcastic. She's funny, but she knows what she's doing. And, I trust her with my hair 100%. You could ask her, would this look good on me? And she'll go, maybe not. Or like, oh yeah, I think that'd be fine. And so it's like, I want to stick with being honest and true to myself, both as a mom and as a professional. It's like, I don't want to act and be different. And that's what I feel like a social media a lot is, especially in the hair world, is, okay, how can I be relevant? How can I get people? How can I get followers? And it's like, yeah, having more followers is cool, but I want true followers that actually want me to do their hair. And so that's where I struggle with social media, is I'd rather just show my work and then might put up a video here and there if I think of something. But most likely it's going to be a video of me doing hair or a before and after, because that's what I feel like people want to see. And yeah, they want to see my personality. Like I did a day in my life video and I had a ton of people that are like, that was so cool. Like seeing you go from mom to business owner and then back to being a wife once you come home. Because it's like I have 3 different roles just in one day. And so I need to do more of that. But I get scared of the judgment, and I get scared that I'm going to be portrayed in not how I truly am, because that's happened in real life before, that people just think I'm mean and bitchy and don't care about anything and I'm lazy, when it's like, no, I'm actually funny. I think I'm funny.
I'm glad somebody does.
I'm funny. I'm sarcastic. I'm caring. And I'm not going to do something if I don't think I'm going to do it the right way, or that it's going to be made fun of by somebody else. Like, stupid example, how towels are folded or how laundry is done. That was a huge thing at my last salon, that we all had different ways that we thought it should be. and how we wanted it to be. And I was told that I did it wrong or I folded it wrong. Okay, if I'm not going to do it the right way and be made fun of and have people be mad at me for doing it the wrong way, I'm not going to do it then. Because I'm a perfectionist and I want things right. And Ryan knows of all people that is very much me, is I want things done right and I want them done well and I want them done the correct way, whether that's how I think it's correct or how society and the world, this is how you screw in a light bulb. Okay, that's how I'm going to screw in a light bulb. Mm-hmm. So social media scares me because there's not a right way.
Well, and the bigger your account gets, the more scrutiny. Mm-hmm. So like if your goal is to grow on social media, you're going to naturally attract naysayers. Mm-hmm. Even on my dinky YouTube channel, which has like 17,000 subscribers, like every week I just get some of the weird off the wall comments. And I'm not even like a social media influencer by any means, but it's like, you would never say this to my face. You know, that you get some weird stuff of like just people making really, really weird comments or like really hurtful stuff.
And I'm terrified of other hairstylists saying, that's not the right way. Because even though I was trained and have Redken training, I have so much training that I know what I'm doing. If I had another hairstylist, especially if it was like a big hairstylist, but if I had another hairstylist saying, well, that's not the right way to do baby lights, then I'd be like, oh crap, like is it not? And then I start second guessing myself. So like Ryan has suggested, oh, you should do teaching things, and I'm like, no, like that terrifies me. Like it would be fulfilling to go to another salon of young stylists and teach them like a new method, but I would be absolutely terrified the entire time that one person there has more education than me. And then I'm teaching them how to do something, and then they go, that's not how I learned it. And then I'm going to be like, well, okay. How did you learn it? You want to teach the class? Like, yeah. So that's why social media scares me. Like, I like being on it, and I like being present, but I don't want to be over present, and I don't want to be, like, so relevant to what's going on in the world that I have to constantly keep that up. Versus just posting pictures of what I do. That's what keeps me relevant, is people see my work, not see me acting and see me pretend. Like I did do 2 videos the other day with one of my guests that she's really good at TikTok videos and all that kind of stuff. So she was like, oh my gosh, yes, what are we doing? But I was still like laughing and kind of making fun of myself during it. So.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because a lot of these people in a service-based business, that is the only way you can really grow, is become a social media influencer and try to create content and chase trends and do all the stuff.
No, my work shows it. I don't need to be an influencer.
Sure. Well, and I like you said, I don't think it would bode well for you because you're just too much of yourself to change who you are to fit.
I'm pretty stubborn too.
Whatever the algorithms request of you. So in that vein, I mean, we talked about like growth mode and stuff. Is your goal big picture to stay where you are or expand or open your own salon, or what's kind of the big picture for you now that you've been a year into this?
I think, we kind of talked about this amongst ourselves the other day, but
for a long time, like 4 hours.
Yeah. There's a couple different routes that I could go from where I'm at now. Like, I'm in a double suite sharing with actually one of my old coworkers, so it works out really well because we know each other really well. But we both want to eventually be in a room by ourselves, just because you can have true independence when you're in a room by yourself when compared to sharing. Like, she joined me, so I kind of already had this space how I wanted it. And then she brought in some ideas, and now, like, when people walk in, they're like, oh, wow, like, we added wallpaper and a mini fridge. And my guest yesterday literally said, wow, when did you guys get so cool in here? And I was like, well, thank you. Do you want a beer? And she's like, hell yeah, I want a beer. So she had a Michelob. It was great. So it's like I could see myself just going to another room in where my salon suites are and just having a room by myself for a little bit. But I could also see once my contract is up with this room, owning a salon suite. Like one of my guests the other day asked, because she said, so basically when you were on Ryan's podcast, the first time you manifested that you were going to go off on your own and you didn't know it yet, what are you going to manifest this time? And I kind of smiled.
Pressure's on.
I kind of smiled and I was like, well, I have some ideas, but I won't, you'll just have to listen, to the podcast. But I think it'd be cool to open up a salon suite, has another option in Ankeny, because Ankeny is growing so much, and that's where the hair industry is going towards, is people want to be their own boss. They want to work their own hours, wear whatever the hell they want, sell what they want, or don't sell anything. Some people hate that pressure of having to sell retail. And I've thought about different options within that, of something in between a salon suite and booth rental, where it hits the girls that want to be part of a team, but they also want their own business. And I don't know exactly what that would be, big picture wise, but I think it'd be really cool. And I could see myself owning a full salon suite and still be able to work. But I know with like my body, it's very hard on your body to be a hairstylist, and I have scoliosis. So my back is constantly hurting and my feet are a hot mess, but I love doing hair. So it's like I could see myself owning a salon suite, still working a little bit out of it, but then becoming more of the business boss end and being more involved than some of these other salon suite owners, because of the few salon suites that I know in the whole Des Moines area. They just own the salon suite and that's it. Like, you can text them when you need anything and they're on it, but they don't do anything else. And so it's like, okay, how could I create a salon suite that's different, that I could be as involved or as uninvolved as I wanted to be based on what the individual needs? Like, can I bring in education, since that's a hard thing for people to get, and bring in different artists, because there's so many girls that have different color lines and retail lines that they use, and just like be able to offer something more that it's like, okay, you're on your own, but you're not on your own. Like, I'm here to help support you in your business, and how can I help make your business better? And I think that would be really cool, because if somebody didn't need my help, if they're like, girl, I got this. Okay, cool.
Just pay your rent on time.
Pay your rent. I'm going to have automatic deposit. I'll get your rent. If your light bulb goes out, let me know. I'll fix it for you myself. But if there's younger girls straight out of school that are crazy, and one of my friends did this and is still doing this, she went straight from school to owning her own salon. And props to you, Reese. I love you. You're crazy. But like, being able to offer girls like that out of school business help, because in hair school, we don't learn business.
And it's critical to survive.
It is so critical to
like
survive.
It's the one thing that no one talks about, but you need to know.
Exactly. And so it's like, okay, you're straight out of school and you're owning your own business. Okay, cool. These are the things that you need to know. These are your LLC papers. These are what you need to know. These are what you need to fill out. And that might terrify somebody to be like, holy shit, I can't own my own business. I need to go work for somebody. Okay, cool. I want to help you be successful. And if that means you're renting from me, cool. If that means I just drove you away from me, but you're going to be more successful if you work for somebody first, cool. Like, I want to be able to help in that way, because so many people in the hair world, whether they are an owner or they're an independent stylist like me, you learn about another hairstylist and you get bitchy real quick, because it's so competitive. Because it's like, oh, wow, she's really good. I don't want her to steal my clients, but maybe I can steal some of hers. And that's the mindset that I want to try to reverse, is like, yeah, you can be competitive, but we're all good. It's the personality that has to fit with the person that you're working on their hair. So it's like, I want to be able to help stylists on both ends, on the hair end and on the business end, to be successful, that they can either keep renting from me forever, or they can go off and own their own salon and be an employer with employees, or they go open their own salon suite. Then I'll be slightly better, but I'll be like, hey, cool, I built that person to have the confidence and success to do this. So I think that would be cool, and that is what I'm manifesting for myself in the future.
That's cool. It's on record now on the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Well, it's so cool to see the progression for you because, you know, like you mentioned, I'm really gung-ho about this business stuff. I've been doing my business on the side for 10 years, full-time for the last 4, and it's like it kind of gets contagious. Like people start, you know, now you're off on your own for a year, and it's like, well, what else can I do? You start to think of more things.
Yeah, everybody blamed Ryan for me going off on my own, but it was manifesting deep within. Ryan just helped to like pop it out.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's just interesting though to see the growth now, because we've also looked at other ventures outside of just our own respective businesses. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, about some of the stuff we've been looking at and stuff like that?
Yes. We have a limited time left before I need to go get my nails done.
Oh gosh, how much time do you have left?
We have like 10 minutes.
Okay. Well,
Less
then
than 10
talk
minutes.
quickly. Auctioneer time.
Auctioneer time. I can't talk fast. So Ryan and I have always had a slight interest in some sort of real estate investment, whether that's owning a rental property or owning another business. So there was a business a couple doors down from his studio, actually, that is still for sale.
Could still do it.
We could still do it. Anybody want to loan us some money? That'd be really cool. But we thought about doing like a photo studio for photographers, because this specific building has like exposed brick and beautiful lighting, and it'd be beautiful for that. So we've thought of that. We've thought of a small event space, because selfishly our daughter was born in January and we don't know where the hell we're going to have her birthday party.
You just wanted to buy this just for your own usage once a year? Just
for the birthday party, yeah. But yeah, there's not a lot of small event spaces like close to us, at least that we know of. Like we don't know of any besides like typical like community rooms or library or whatever. Like we want a cute small event space. So we're like, oh, that'd be really cool if we could buy this building and turn it into a small event space as a second business for both of us. Like have a business together, because we work well together. We butt heads with certain things, but like we balance each other out pretty well, I feel like. So yeah, we thought about doing some sort of small event space, because I love weddings, I love planning, I love designing, like I love those OCD type A things, versus Ryan's better at the business side of things, the marketing side of things, and peopling. Even though I talk to people on a regular basis, I have to be multitasking. I have to be doing something with my hands. Like when you see this video, like my hands are constantly moving. Even though I'm talking to my own husband, like I can't just like sit still and not move my hands. Versus Ryan has been pretty much sitting still this entire time, and he can talk just fine. And we went to a networking event a couple weeks ago.
Date night, networking event.
Date night, sinus infection. I felt like shit.
Totally tubular, dude.
But Ryan went up to this guy, and I was like following him like a puppy, because I was like, I feel like shit. I'm not going to just go talk to random people. He goes up to this guy. Hey, I'm Ryan. How are you? I thought Ryan knew this guy, so I was just sitting, standing there and talking, and I kind of looked at Ryan, and I figured out, shit, he doesn't have a clue who this guy is. He just straight up went to a random person and asked them what their name was. That is not normal.
That's what a networking event is all about. You meet new people.
It's not normal, though.
Got some new contacts. We found some banks that might lend us the money for this place, which is the story that you left off here.
Oh, my nail fell off. Good thing I'm gonna go.
Well, quit fidgeting.
I'm gonna go get it put back on.
That's a keeper. You better keep that one.
But yeah, so I think we'd be really good at owning a small event space. It's in our future. We just need money. So once again, if anybody wants to loan us money, hook us up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it was
First small event on us.
Right.
If you loan us money.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to summarize. I mean, it was a long process of just going through, but I think the practice of doing it, like we talked to a realtor, we talked to a banker, I ran a cost benefit analysis, a break even point analysis of like what the business plan would do, who our customer base would be, how it'd be different. Like I haven't done that stuff since I was in college, which is kind of fun, but also
he was nerding out so much on this.
I'd come home at night and like for 2 or 3 hours a night.
I have to stop him because I'm like, dude, we can't afford it. Stop doing this. Like, we don't have enough money for the down payment. We literally are not even allowed to get a business loan because you have to have 25% freaking down.
That's a lot of money.
Who has 25% to put down?
Right. Not a lot of people.
Not normal people.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the business would float. The location's not ideal. I think that's what we kind of alluded to. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I've been looking elsewhere of other properties in better locations for a similar thing. So I think there's always opportunity out there, and then just having your feelers out. Like
we were even looking for salon suite locations in Ankeny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just driving around like, oh, this would be kind of cool. But it's fun to dream, right? It's fun to dream of new things. And it helps if it's in an industry that we're both familiar with because then, we're not like, we're going to open a gas station. Like or we're going to open a potato chip manufacturing plant. Like,
well, that sounds fun. I love potatoes.
Okay. Potatoes. Why has no one made a sweet potato chips? Like kettle.
Sweet potato chip?
Yeah, like sweet potato kettle chips.
Maybe we're on to something.
There's a good business idea. But, okay, so kind of wrapping things together, what would be your advice to other people that are an employee that is trying to figure out if they want to go off on their own? What are some things to consider for someone if they're in that boat?
I mean, the best thing is to talk to somebody that's already doing it. That was where my number one fear was. And I did have a friend that she does booth rental. And so I kind of talked to her and I was like, hey, like, how much do you spend on expenses a week? Just to kind of get a ballpark. And so I would say talk to somebody that's already doing it because they're going to know firsthand the struggles and what it takes to get started. And I'm trying to encourage one of my friends right now to go off on her own because she's ready. She could do it. But she's like, I'm scared that I'm going to fail. And I was like, that's such a normal thing. So just talking to somebody that's already doing it and talk to somebody that will tell you the true numbers. Because for somebody like me, I needed those numbers. I needed to know so I could try to eliminate as much of the unknown as possible. But you don't truly know until you do it. So in any industry, if you know this is what I want to do, talk to somebody that's already doing it because most likely they're going to be excited for you or they're going to say, this was the dumbest idea that I ever did, but now I'm stuck in it. Don't do it. But I highly doubt that anybody's going to say that. Especially in the hair world, they're going to say, hey, like, it's hard, but if you know where your numbers are at, if you have a good clientele to follow you, and if you have a website and you're good on social media, you're good at getting your people to refer other people to you, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Like, I was against having a website, and then Ryan was like, Paige, you need to have a website. And I was like, no, people find people on social media. And he's like, no, you need to have a website. And I've had a good handful of people that have just found me on Google. And
You're welcome.
I think that's the coolest thing because they'll say if a friend referred them or somebody on a community page referred them to me, I'm like, that's really cool. But if they organically found me on Google, and I've just a couple people, most people have been referrals, but a couple people have just found me on Google. I'm like, that's really cool. That means what I'm doing on the back end, what I'm paying for on the back end is working. And that's such a good, like, heartwarming feeling when I get a text that says from my software, like, so-and-so is requesting a haircut with you. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I look at it and it says Google. And I'm like, awesome. So yeah, number one advice is talk to somebody that's already doing it and talk to somebody that will tell you the numbers and not just him-ha around it, because that's what's going to make you feel the most comfortable knowing, okay, this person does pretty much the same thing that I'm doing service-wise, and she's spending this much. So, okay, I need to be making this much top line to be break even with where I'm at now or make more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just soar from there.
Love it. No, I love it. Where can people find more about you? Where can they find your website you just mentioned and maybe book a haircut or a color service with you?
So luxsalon.co is my website. Don't put that extra M on there for whatever reason. It's just .co. So luxsalon.co. And then Instagram is lux.salon.studio. And Facebook is Lux Salon Studio. On any of those places, you can find my booking link. It's a Gloss Genius booking link. And there you can see my pricing and you can book your appointments. I highly suggest color. I'm pretty good at it. So, or your wedding. I'm really good at updos too. We didn't really talk about that, but yeah.
Love it. Well, Paige, thanks for coming in to break in season 2 of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. If you guys have made it this far, you know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and tune into the next episode next week when we interview another interesting business person to help you with business and life development. My name is Ryan Snaadt, and it rhymes with odd.
Hey!
And you're listening to the Rhymes with Odd podcast. See you later. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snaadt Media Group or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snaadmedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.